This is my AM-AFA by Angry Miao. The board looks, sounds, and feels incredible. It is both my daily driver and the most expensive thing I own. But what it's not is a gaming keyboard. That's where this comes in, the Black Diamond by Dry Studios. Now, as far as I can tell, Dry Studio is just a budget brand of Angry Miao. This was designed by Angry Miao's product designer, Stan Fu, and was manufactured and delivered by them as well, so for all intents and purposes, this is Angry Miao's gaming keyboard. And you can tell that this is a more budget board from the packaging alone. Unlike the actual Angry Miao boards, this comes with no heavy-duty carrying case, just the cardboard box it ships in. But aside from that, you'd be hard-pressed to tell that this is a more budget board, though the cap for what's considered budget seems to be falling hard these days. Opening it up, you can see that it's just a keyboard with some accessories, and the instructions for it are printed directly on top of the foam. For some reason they neglected to mention that you check your battery level with function P. I only know that because it's the same shortcut on the AM-FA. The accessories include the wireless dongle, which they call the AM Sniper 2.4 on their Indiegogo page. They claim 2.4 G 2 millisecond latency, but because this is a USB-C dongle, I can't actually test that because my computer is so old that I don't have a USB-C port. That's probably why it's been giving me so much trouble lately. There's also this weird double-sided female USB-C thing. I actually have no idea what this is for, and I don't think it's listed on the Indiegogo page either. But it is branded, so I'm assuming I was supposed to get it. If you know what it is, please let me know in the comments. And of course, a USB-C to USB-A cable. This is actually a really nice cable, and I'll probably just use it as one of my cables because I like it so much. Now before we take a closer look at the actual keyboard, I think a change in desk mats is in order, because the keycap set that came on the Black Diamond is very clearly heavily inspired by GMK Blue Samurai. We'll get more into that later, but for now take a look at this beautiful board. This thing is absolutely stunning, and if you told me that this was a fully fledged Angry Miao board that costs $600, I'd believe you, and I'd probably still buy it because I make poor life choices. I just love everything about the design, from the transparent top that lets you see the leaf springs, to the carbon fiber everywhere, even the front that tapers down to that unique look. The only bad thing about it is this sticker on the plain bottom, but who cares really, you're not going to see the bottom anyways. While we're here though, let's peel that film off the MagSafe charger spot. Now, these keycaps are double-shot PBT, and the Misro version of this keyboard comes with a different set, but it's called the Black Diamond, so I got the black version. Unfortunately, there are no extra keycaps for the F and J keys with no bumps. And the included switches are what they call the custom eSport switches, the DR Rapid Ice by Gateron. The other version of this keyboard comes with KTT Wine Reds. I'm not sure why they would do that considering how this is marketed as an esports level gaming keyboard, and the esports switches are probably a part of that. And as I was putting the switch and keycap back in, I couldn't help but notice that the flex on this keyboard is absolutely insane. I don't have a second camera yet because I'm saving up for a new computer and monitor, but let me lift this up to show you from the side. That is absolutely wild and honestly just a bit too much for my liking. Let's take it apart and get a better look at what's giving it all that flex. The whole thing can be dismantled with a single T7H screw, which Angry Miao does not provide, but honestly I can see why. Just because it has a ton of easily accessible visible screws doesn't mean that you're supposed to touch them. This board clearly has a specific sound and feel that it's going for, and doesn't really feel like a board you're supposed to tinker with. Now I stopped taking it apart at this point because I didn't want to mess with the two ribbon cables, but I think you can see the insides well enough. We didn't need to do this to see the super flexible leaf springs, but now we can see this thick pad of rubber at the bottom as well. There's also a layer of foam underneath the PCB, as well as in between it and the plate. Let's put it back together and see what all that ends up sounding like. Now I mentioned earlier that this keycap set is clearly based on GMK Blue Samurai, and I don't have that set because if you want the Japanese letters you have to pay extra, but I do have GMK Red Samurai. I didn't replace the right shift or the keys on the right because the layout support of this set isn't the best, but it should be enough for you to hear what the board would sound like with GMK. Before that though, I want to do a quick comparison of the keycaps. I can't show you the difference in blues between the Blue Samurai and this keyboard's caps, but we can take a look at the black and the gold. Let me know if you can tell the difference and which one you think is which. From the front and the side it might be a bit hard to tell, but from the top you can clearly see the injection molding mark on the GMK set. Looking at the back as well, you can see the difference in how the plastic is injected. The GMK is a lot messier, but as long as it looks good from the front, I don't care. Now without further ado, let's hear how this sounds with authentic GMK keycaps. Let's say you wanted to keep the blue look though, but still wanted hiragana on your keycaps. In that case, consider PBTFans Ronin set. This is actually my first set from PBTFans, and the quality actually astounded me. First impressions made me confused about why more people don't render sets through PBTFans instead of GMK. Even the packaging is just so much better. This is an actual box with actual trays inside. Sliding it out reminds me of an apothecary table, which seems appropriate for this keycap set, and the trays are designed to actually work and keep your keycaps in place. This particular set comes with 3 layers including your alternative modifiers and some gorgeous novelties. Of course all that doesn't mean anything if the keycaps aren't any good, but these might even outrank GMK. I was shocked to discover that these are triple shot. I honestly didn't know that when I bought them, and the legends are all pretty clean. I like the texture as well, but I haven't used them long enough for them to smooth out like some of my GMK sets, so I don't know how they'll feel in the long run. Subscribe if you want to hear my thoughts on them after a while, I guess, but for now let's just hear what they sound like. And that was the Black Diamond by Dry Studios. Let me know what you think, especially what you thought it cost. Would it surprise you to learn that this board sold for $300? The wired version went for even less at $240. Assuming that you value the keycaps and switches at around $100, that puts a hypothetical barebone version of this board at just $140, which I definitely would not have expected. And I just love how we're able to get such high quality boards at a much cheaper price than they would have been 3 to 5 years ago, because it makes it so much easier to save up for a new computer and monitor. Mine have been giving me a ton of issues, and that's why I've switched back to bi-weekly videos, and if you'd like to help me afford that stuff, I've left my Ko-Fi link in the description. But if you don't want to, that's fine, I have nothing to offer in return after all, but you can still support the channel by liking the video if you like it, and subscribing if you're not already. Either way, I will see you next time.